Tonight on KGW News, wildfire season in the West. Why is it getting worse? What will it look like in the future? And how are agencies adapting? Plus,
we need to recognize this as an emergency, that it is a crisis.
Welcoming refugees. Leaders push for Oregonians to help those desperately trying to flee Afghanistan. And Portland city leaders propose a street racing solution, but will it work? But first, Washington's governor hands down new rules he hopes will stop the spread of the Delta variant. Thank you for joining us for KGW News at 11. I'm Laurel Porter. We begin with three big vaccine mandates that came out today. One, Washington's governor is now requiring all teachers and school staff to get vaccinated. That includes K through 12 schools and higher education. They have until October 18th to finish. Number two, Portland Public Schools issued a vaccine requirement for its 4,000 employees. There are medical and religious exemptions, and those who don't get vaccinated will have to be tested once a week. And number three, President Biden is ordering staff at nursing homes that get funding through Medicare or Medicaid to get vaccinated.
We are fortunate, we are blessed to have two tools that are effective, that are safe, that are available to essentially almost everyone in our community, and we should use them.
Back in Washington, in addition to the teacher vaccine mandate, Governor Inslee today announced a new mask requirement for everyone in the state. Masks will be required once again in any indoor public space, whether you're vaccinated or not. It's the same thing Oregon started doing last week. On Vancouver's waterfront tonight, the people we talked to were okay with the mask rule, but a teacher and school employee were conflicted by the new vaccine mandate.
We live in their country of freedom. I know it's about their national health, and the more people will be vaccinated, the better. But still, I would rather prefer people to have a choice.
A lot of people are very upset about this whole mandate on the shots, and I'm afraid what it's going to do to our community, what it's going to do to our teachers, what it's going to do to our kids.
Dawn, who you just heard from, is worried teachers might leave their jobs over this, putting another school year in jeopardy. We also saw protests pop up tonight in Vancouver. Some held signs against the vaccine mandate. Other signs were against masks. This was organized by parents who don't think students should have to wear masks in school. That's something both Washington and Oregon are requiring. In Oregon's ICUs, many doctors and nurses are tired of seeing people dismiss the risks of COVID. This week, for the first time, we got a chance to go inside St. Charles Medical Center in Bend for a look at how the surge of COVID patients is affecting them and the community. Frustrated doctors want everyone to get a vaccine so they don't end up in the ICU themselves. And they're speaking out like never before. We asked one doctor what it's like to see people shopping without wearing masks.
It's hard. I walk around grocery stores looking at people and wondering what they look like when they're going to get in the ICU. It's pretty difficult to deal with.
You can see our full report on Oregon's overwhelmed ICUs tomorrow night on KGW News at 4 o'clock and on The Story at 6 o'clock, as well as on KGW.com. Turning to the situation unfolding in Afghanistan. As refugees look to flee the country, Governor Kate Brown and state lawmakers have expressed interest in welcoming them to Oregon. Mike Benner has more.
The Taliban takeover in Afghanistan, along with the corresponding images, have captured the attention of people across the globe, including state legislators right here in Oregon.
So I'm just feeling really heartbroken. I mean, the pictures of the terror and the panic and the lengths that people are going to hang on to airplanes as they're lifting off.
It's just heartbreaking what's going on in Afghanistan. It's difficult to comprehend. It's just sad.
Oregon State Senator Casey Jama and State Rep Con Pham, with the support of dozens of state legislators from both chambers and both parties, wrote a letter to Governor Kate Brown. They're urging the governor to offer up Oregon as a safe haven for Afghan refugees.
We need to recognize this as an emergency, that it is a crisis, and respond to that need, that human need in crisis.
Oregon is very compassionate and welcoming state, and that has been our history. And we're going to continue that tradition.
Representative Pham and Senator Jama are leaders, not just locally, but nationally.
Britt Conroy is the public policy director for Ecumenical Ministries of Oregon, a nonprofit that resettles refugees. Conroy says it's not a matter of if Oregon will see Afghan refugees fleeing the turmoil overseas, but when. Conroy says EMO and its partners will be ready to assist with housing, furnishings, food, and academic support, among other things.
Really, the work is helping someone get their feet on the ground, feel welcome, and start the day-to-day efforts of working, going to school, and connecting to community.
If you ask Oregon State Representative Pham, she'll tell you there's no better place for that than Oregon.
I envision a state where Oregonians are volunteering to see how they can help, and opening their homes if needed, and just really trying to step up and show the hospitality that I know we hold.
Speaking of that help, if you'd like to step up, you can find more information on our website, kgw.com. In the meantime, Oregon Governor Kate Brown released a statement saying that she received that letter from state legislators. She says she's in favor of resettling Afghan families here in Oregon, adding that since 1975, the state has welcomed more than 75,000 refugees from across the world, and they've been a vital part of the fabric of Oregon's history, culture, and economy. Reporting in Southwest Portland, I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
Portland City Council today came out with a new rule they hope will combat street racing in the city. But tonight on The Story, Dan Haggerty took a look at why it might not be that effective.
Street racing has become a big problem in our city. It's one of the many crimes on the rise, and it's deadly. Portland police say 5 people have been killed in the last year. They've also said point blank they don't have enough officers to shut down these races and arrest people. So the mayhem continues. Well, not so fast, says the Portland City Council. They met today and voted on a new ordinance that specifically outlaws street racing. Fines go as high as $500. People can get thrown in jail. They can get their cars towed. But here's the thing. Street racing is already essentially illegal. Speeding and reckless driving, they've been illegal for years, and Portland police have said they don't have enough staff to enforce those laws. In fact, they don't even have a traffic division right now. That said, to be fair, at Wednesday's meeting, Deputy Chief Chris Davis said this ordinance could be helpful in some cases.
We believe that this ordinance gives us a really important tool to deal with not only the people engaged in the dangerous driving activity, but the people who are legitimately facilitating the event. That doesn't mean just everybody who happens to be standing around, but the people who are helping to shut down the roads and organize these events, if you will.
But again, police aren't responding to most of those races in the first place. So how much will this new ordinance get used? We're gonna have to wait and see.
Oregon's huge bootleg fire may be out, but several fires still burn in the state and throughout the West. Next, we're taking a look at the technology crews are using to combat the flames as our wildfire seasons stretch longer than ever.
Yes, they do. And here's a map showing where the wildfires are around the Northwest right now. We had some smoke over the Portland area tonight, and today it's going to move out. I'll let you know where it's hitting Oregon and what our chances of rain are as we head into the weekend.
Welcome back. We are right in the thick of wildfire season. So all this week, we're partnering with our sister stations on the West Coast for a series called Scorched Earth. If you've lived around here for a while, you've probably noticed our fires getting worse each year. What exactly is causing that, and how do we deal with it? Here's meteorologist Monica Woods from our Sacramento station.
People, dried out land, and climate. A dangerous combination for wildfire in the West.
Wait, hold up, stop, go.
Interestingly, people are responsible for all three.
Tim Brown is the director of the Western Regional Climate Center and professor at the Desert Research Institute in Reno, Nevada. He's working to understand our rapidly changing wildfire environment.
In many places around the West, we've had a long history of what we call fire exclusion. In other words, it's been an aggressive fire suppression policy to go in and extinguish fire.
But this leaves behind a lot of available fuel for more fires, especially in areas that have seen some of the biggest growth in home building. More people, more fire risk.
Sheriff's Office!
One example of this is the 2017 Tubbs fire in Santa Rosa, California, just outside wine country, striking in the middle of the night, becoming a race against time to save lives.
Where you at? Help, right here! Come on! Screw your shoe! Come on, she's disabled. All right, let me get her feet. Oh, don't hit me.
It wiped out entire neighborhoods, becoming the second most destructive and fourth deadliest fire in California history.
If you look at the fire perimeter, you can go back to 1964 to it was called the Hanley fire, nearly identical fire perimeter. Much less damage, much less costly.
And now, in a warmer, drier world with growing drought concerns, these fires are showing explosive behavior. Neil LaRoe is researching high-impact weather in the western United States, focusing on how fires are creating their own weather extremes like tornadoes.
Fire-generated tornadoes are similar to ordinary tornadoes in the atmosphere, but they're kind of on steroids.
Driven by intense heating from fire, creating updrafts as high as 130 miles per hour.
We're also seeing that the most intense form of these are linked to fire-generated thunderstorms. A fancy name is pyrocumulonimbus.
The warming climate and drought, all a backdrop to this extreme behavior.
It's lengthening our fire season and giving us a longer window where we're in that kind of critical time period where fuels can combust very rapidly, release a ton of heat into the atmosphere, and drive some of the extremes that we're seeing.
Hotter, more intense fires creating their own weather and making rapid runs toward communities. All of this makes reaction time even more critical. One tool that is greatly helping is the Alert Wildfire Camera Network.
The crazy idea there was we'd take our seismic network and we would put cameras up on our communication towers, and we would try to help the Forest Service and others understand the situational awareness, discover fires potentially. And our crazy idea now has blossomed to almost 1,000 cameras on 2 continents.
Graham Kent is one of its developers and director of the Nevada Seismological Lab. He says this not only saves time, but helps to deploy proper resources.
And then they can basically scale up or down the resource really right away. So they don't have to wait for the first fire truck to get on scene to say, oh my God, you need to send 3 tankers, a couple helicopters, and 10 trucks, right? They can see that almost from the get-go.
When asked what kind of difference the cameras make, he goes back to building out the network after the Tubbs fire.
Sonoma County Sheriff's Office, mandatory evacuation order, leave your homes.
There weren't any cameras, and it was a very confusing environment. And the next thing you know, this wave of flames are coming.
Just 2 years later, a fire nearby was confirmed in the first 10 minutes, and evacuation started immediately based on what the fire looked like on the cameras. Even with all this technology, people living in these fire-prone areas know more needs to be done, from warning, firefighting tactics, and mitigation to prevent more destruction and deaths.
And take a look at this map. It shows all of the larger wildfires that have burned throughout the country this season. Oregon right now still has 12 fires burning that have not been fully contained.